now he's like almost 3 months. His eyes are open, expression
And you say he doesn't stay up?
We have to wake him up earlier when he was younger to feed him.
To feed him?
Yeah. So everything. So he would sometimes get up if he's like, wet himself or something. But he was very peaceful in the night. He would get up, move around a little, then automatically he would get up. It wasn't that he was crying all throughout the night. For him, it was very good because you sleep at 10, then he'll get up at 2 o'clock or something in the night. But you quickly change his diaper. Then you would feed him, and then he would go back to sleep.
Still, in the eyes of other people around the world, still Bhutan government is trying to say that they just created a problem and they left the country, but we didn't create a problem. The government actually imposed us.
Yeah.
So
that's what Maharaji talks about you all the time.
Intolerable was the policies and other than we had to evict. We were made to evict the country, and we evicted and came to Nepal, and we were in the camps for 20 years in the refugee camp.
4 years. Were you individually too?
Yeah.
4 years in a camp in Nepal.
20 years.
20 years.
Yes, we spent in the refugee camp in Nepal.
How did you all find out about Satpalji? Maharaji, how did you find out about that, and what role has he had in this?
Actually, Maharaji, he was involved in the politics in India. And that way, actually, I don't have actually clear things to say how that.
But he
helped.
Yeah,
but he's the only way to make us resettle in different places. Actually, we were disciples of Maharaji in Bhutan.
Oh, you were?
Yeah, in Bhutan.
Oh, you were all disciples.
It was like 1980s. 1980. And we came to Nepal. We started. The prasar means spreading the true knowledge of Maharaji everywhere, all across the country.
Amazing.
In Nepal.
In Bhutan, you guys were.
We were disciples. We have so many disciples in Bhutan. And
so you started with 20 people in a room here, and now there are how many?
Yeah, in the beginning we were very small in numbers. Now it's last year in Texas program, Fourth Ward, there were 3,000 people. That was a big.
Mostly from Bhutan.
Yeah, mostly from Bhutan.
Amazing.
95% of the people who came to attend the program, there was Bhutanese. 3,000 people.
Amazing.
Then he bought a bullet 500. That was the first time they experienced the universe. It was simple. He's like, I started a restaurant and I had enough money to pay for the first 100 meals. That much money I had. So that much food I could give out for free. And if the 101th meal went free, then I had to shut my restaurant. But I put this faith in the universe that some good person will come, will understand this concept, and will pay for more what he's eaten. So the more that I get from that person will go into feeding someone who will pay less. Like their checks and balances.
अर्कोले ज्ञानी भएको नि हैन त्यो चाहिँ भर्खरबाट छ त्यसले यहाँ सोधिरहेको छ यो आफै नै रोप्नुपर्छ त्यसको लागि हामीलाई भयो कि मलाई यो अचार र मलाई मजाले भने
Do different people cook?
Yesterday it was Sevadal, like a youth. They made prasad and everything for everyone. But today, for the program, they did that. And today, they went home. So I did it.
You're in charge. I knew I would find the leader here. It was wonderful.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jason.
Because in India, like the only reason that people are suffering so much and they still don't choose to end their life is because they have a hope that okay, next lifetime we'll do better. You know, if this karma's life is better, yeah, you know, next time we'll get a better birth, and you know, so that gives them the opportunity to even make their life better in this lifetime. But when you tell everyone, okay, this is it, and then for the rest of eternity till Judgment Day, you have to just wait in a limbo state. So I guess to experience everything, there's too much of a rush over here, you know. You want everything to be experienced now, here. I put a little bit of effort, you know, the result should be now, everything should be now. So 11 years I spent more time with my friends, you know, people from different religion, all walks of life, than I did at home. So my initial, like even today I have like a group of 10-12 friends that I know I can bank on them for anything, you know, in life. And they also know that these 12-15 people, you know, I can tell them anything. So there's a structure, you know, some things that probably I couldn't talk to someone else, but there was always this one friend or two friends that I could talk to. But over here, relationships are very different, I guess, you know. If you're working with someone, then you only talk to him about work. You know, you don't talk about your personal life. At home, it's different. You know, each your relationship with your neighbor is different. You know, the person you meet at the grocery store every day, you're probably meeting him for 10 years. But besides, you know, knowing his name, you don't even know his wife's name, or you know, like, I mean, there's no interaction. So there's so many boundaries that a person has, and definition. So somehow, like when you build walls, you're not keeping outside, but you're keeping yourself also inside them. You know, it's a two-way thing. You know, so what's the point of having all these definitions and all these boundaries if at the end of the day all these boundaries are not making us happy?
Rules.
Yeah. I mean, it's all man-made. At the end of the day, like, why were we put on to this earth in the first place? It was not to, you know, get a job or get a career. I mean, all these things are okay in your worldly life. But even before all these things existed, people were still living. They were farming, they were sharing, you know, in smaller communities. It's only as communities grew larger and larger and we build these, you know, cities of concrete, you know, then there's so many complications that only exist in the city. They don't exist anywhere else. Like, I go to Dehradun, my maximum commute time is 15 minutes in the peak hour traffic of the city. I can leave the whole city behind, go up to the mountains in 15 minutes. Now, if I'm in Delhi, I have to really think and plan my day, because if I leave at 7 to 9, I won't be getting anywhere. I'll be just stuck in the rush. So, you know, simple things of going and meeting someone, or, you know, meeting your family becomes so complicated that you avoid that. So when you're avoiding that, you're avoiding the whole experience also, no? I mean, like earlier, like probably it will be the same in Macedonia. If a wedding would happen, you know, all the family would get together, they would celebrate it, you know, the wedding is, you know, people will start coming in weeks before. And you know, like a whole month is gone, you're meeting your cousins, family, and you know, everything.
One wedding.
Yeah, for one wedding. And you know, it's like a celebration over a period of time. The wedding is one day, but then, you know, the before and after, it's you know, so it used to happen to us also. Like earlier when the weddings would happen, it used to go on for 15 days, 20 days, all the cousins are coming in, everyone's living together, we're all sleeping on the floor, sharing everything.
Lunch every day, music every day.
Now it's so different. Now, like, you know, it has to be on a Sunday, it has to be a holiday. If you don't do it, half your family doesn't turn up, you know, they can't come. So
if
all these
doesn't come, you don't talk to them.
I mean, yeah, so there are resentments then, you know, so I mean, we've only changed our complications, you know, so many things, by making choices more complicated. When choices are not so complicated living in cities, then things are different. And people still have those weddings in villages. You know, the whole village comes together and they celebrate, and they, you know, celebrate for days and days. You know, to make the country better, deserve the respect because he's doing something for the country. He's like, how will our country progress if he cannot make this simple changes in our mind? And that's what it is, you know, like, and it's so true. Because the person who comes to clean your garbage, you know, you won't even try to, you'll tell him don't enter the kitchen, don't do this, don't do that. You know, a section of society which is actually doing the worst job, you know, in the society probably. If tomorrow they are not working, imagine, you know, everyone else has to do it, it will be such a difficult thing. But the thing is, like, these notions have to change, you know. And that's what India was known for at one point, for its progressive thinking. That's why people from China used to come to Ujjain to study, you know, in the ancient times, because India was used to progressive thinking. They were giving a new thought to the mind. Right. But then if you go into negative thinking and you keep on holding to traditions, that this is a tradition, this is that, these are not traditions, you know. But people who are ignorant will, you know, create everything, you know, for their own, you know, own greed or their own purpose. So a lot of ancient wisdom of India was manipulated. So it serves man, not the country, or not the community, to individuals, and that's the problem we are facing. But it's changing slowly. People are more aware, and people, respect each other's decisions more, each other's space more. But they are always, because even if 10% in India are bad people, that's 10 million, bad people we have to deal with. That's a lot in numbers, So it's like slowly the change will happen.
On behalf of Universal Manav Dharma organization, I would like to welcome all of you.
Manav Dharma can be summed up in the phrase, know thyself. When we know ourselves, we will know others. And there'll be peace amongst everybody. Thank you all for coming tonight. I want to thank you all for this opportunity, for allowing me to introduce. It's a great privilege. Namaste.
वरना हर एक व्यक्ति के जीवन में, उसके मन में किसी ना किसी प्रकार का संघर्ष, किसी ना किसी प्रकार का दुख छिपा हुआ है. Respected guests and all the people, the seekers of truth that have gathered here from different countries and from different parts of America. Today, with the grace of Guru Maharaji, we are very fortunate to be a part of this congregation, to be a part of this program. Now, as spiritual beings, we live in a very finite world. All the influences of the world are governed by time. There's a very wise Tibetan saying that says that man says that time passes away, but time laughs and says it's man that passes away. If you see, it is so true. All our lives we live our lives complaining, oh my God, I do not have time. If I had time, I could do this, I could do that. But in turn, time has its own perspective. Time is like, I am always stationary in this world. It is man that is born, it is you that is born, and you live for a certain time and you pass away. So it is not that I am going anywhere, you come into this world and you live this world and go. Now, if we have this opportunity to experience life, to experience this marvelous creation around us, this creation filled with infinite possibilities, there has to be a reason why this creation exists. There has to be a purpose of creation itself. And if creation has given us this gift of consciousness to be able to see, to be able to listen, to be able to observe life and absorb life, then automatically, fundamentally, my consciousness or my objective in life has to be understood. See, today, when we walked into this program, and if you would see the pamphlets that have been distributed, the topic of discussion that was supposed to be the topic of discussion was that where science ends, spirituality begins. Now, this is also a perspective that we must understand. Many people say there is a division between science and spirituality. And this division probably has lasted ever since that science has come into being. Because science has its own way of looking at creation, and spirituality has its own way or own thesis of looking at creation. But if you fundamentally understand the objective of both the paths, the objective of both the path is to understand our place in this cosmos. Is our place in this universe, why are we here? And that is why we are fundamentally asking the question as to how this creation is created, how human beings are created. Now fundamentally, when you ask the question, how is the world created? Science is at the foremost of making you explain how the universe came into being. How is a human being born into this world? What are the complicated processes that happen so a human being is born into this world? So the how can be explained by the science very scientifically. And science will answer the how in very distinctive manner. But if you ask a scientist, why was this universe created? Why was I born? Science itself has the answer of the how, but does not have the answer of the why. And that is where your spiritual journey begins. Where as a spiritual being, we ask ourselves, okay, I understand how this universe was created, but why was this universe created? That is the fundamental question that spirituality answers. So science and spirituality are not different. Even in our Vedic times, the people who understood the Vedic truths were scientists of those times. They were scientists of the internal self, not the external self. Because they said that to answer the why, one cannot be external in life. One has to focus its mental energies, the capabilities, the intuition, all the powers of the mind has to be concentrated within. And then the path that they found that goes within is through their consciousness. But if we are conscious beings, like how Descartes said that I think, therefore I am. Meaning, if I think, if I have the capability of thought, that means I exist. But what is giving this human body the capability of thinking? If you take the human breath out of the body, is the body capable of thinking? Is the body capable of doing? Is the eye capable of seeing? Is the mouth capable of speech? Is the ear capable of listening? No. All the bodily functions that we are so proud of as a human being, that I can do this, I can do that, my brain can think, I have all these beautiful gifts given to me. All these fundamental gifts are only working. Why? Because as conscious beings, if we are breathing, then we are alive. And if we are not breathing, we are not alive. Our existence is no more. So our sages says that fundamentally the way to your consciousness, the way of understanding yourself, the way of understanding your spiritual nature lies within what? Your breath. If the breath is not understood, the simple vibration that is inhalation and the exhalation of breath, if this vibration ceases to be, then everything that we know or everything that we have achieved ceases to be. So one of the most important aspects of understanding ourselves is the breath. But the breath we take for granted. We think I'm going to live forever and there's nothing in this world that can stop me from experiencing this life. But at the end of the day, the moment we were born into this world, the aspect of duality is that this world, this life will come to an end one day or the other. The moment we were born, because we were born, there is an end. So the dual nature of this world will teach us that this body will cease to be at one point of time. But our sages try to explain to us that man is not only the body. Man is not only the flesh, but something greater than that. And how do you understand that? So in the Bhagavad Gita, a very simple step-by-step process is try to explain to us how an individual can understand his own self. So what does the Bhagavad Gita says? That greater than the senses is the body. Meaning we are all beings that live through our senses. The senses is the gifts through which we interact with the world. We exchange energies with the world. If I touch something hot, my senses will tell me that the burn on my finger tells me, the pain on my finger tells me that this thing is hot. If I touch something cool, the sensation on my fingers tell me it is cold. In the same way, my interaction are based on my senses. But the senses is not your totality. It is an aspect of you. So what is greater than the senses? Once you overcome the senses, do not focus on only the senses, then you come to the body. But they say body is also not your totality. Greater than the body is the mind. Because what is governing the senses in our body, what is governing the body, what is making the body move is the mental abilities. Our bodies are not automated things that they are working on our own. The mind enables the body to perform certain functions that we want to perform. So the mind is also an aspect that has to be understood. But they say the mind is not only the aspect of your body. Greater than the mind is the spirit. And in the Bhagavad Gita it is said that even the spirit is not your totality. Greater than the spirit, Lord Krishna says, is I. I am the totality of all this cosmos together. So the transition of life is that you have to change your perspective of living. If we are only attached to the senses, we will remain sensory beings. If we are only attached to the body, we will remain physical beings. If we are only attached to the mind, we will only be mental beings. We are fulfilling all our mental needs, but we are not progressing beyond that. But if you go greater than the mind, then you come to the realm of the spirit. The realm of spirituality opens. But there is a further step that has to be taken, where the dissolution of the individual spirit has to be in union with the cosmic spirit. Just like when a river flows into the sea, what is happening? The river is sacrificing its individual self. And because it sacrifices its individual self, it merges in essence with the sea. Now, if I take you to the sea and I tell you ki distinguish between what water or what droplets belong to the river and what belongs to the sea, it is impossible. And you will say why it can't be possible, and if I ask why it cannot be possible, because you will say that in essence the two have become one. So when a person is still trapped within the I self, where you say, oh, I am the spirit, you are still creating a distinction between the cosmic spirit and your individual spirit. There will always be a distance, there will always be a gap. We haven't reached the ultimate truth. But when you dissolve this I, that becomes the barrier, the ego that becomes the barrier, the mind not being utilized properly is the ego. See, a lot of people have this notion that ego is very evil, that ego is bad. But I would like to clear it that nothing is good or bad in life. It is how we utilize certain things, and our intention of utilizing it is good or bad. Now I'll give you a very small and simple example. You take a seed of a mango. Have you seen it, how it is? It is very hard on the outside. Now if I ask you, why is the shell of a mango seed so hard? So some wise person will tell me that it is because that when you plant the mango seed into the ground, maybe it is not the right time for the seed to sprout. So that hard shell protects the infinite potential of that seed to turn into a mango tree, hence give us many more mangoes. But if there is too much water around and the seed breaks, then what will happen? Too much water will dilute the potential. It will kill the potential. If there's too much sun out, what will happen? If the seed is open, it doesn't have that hard exterior shell, then what is inside is open to all the extremities of the weather. And the potential itself is so delicate that it cannot survive the extremities of the weather. So what does that hard shell do? The hard shell protects the potential within. And slowly, when the right season comes, what happens? The internal potential discards the external self. So there is a time in your life when ego is very important. Meaning, what is ego? To discriminate between what is right and what is wrong. What is dharma, what is adharma. What is righteousness and what is non-righteousness. But if I don't have that division, then how is it possible that I've even come to this program? If I didn't know this program is good or bad for me, or if I didn't have the ability to make that choice, I would be sitting at home and still thinking, should I go to the program? Should I not go to the program? Should I go to the program? Should I not go to the program? And half your time, we are doing this. Should I take this step forward? Should I not take this step forward? Should I do this? Should I not do this? And this is what's happening to all of us in our spiritual realm. Should I take the leap of faith? Should I not take the leap of faith? Should I accept knowledge? Should I not accept knowledge? Should I do this? Should I not do this? Till this definition is not clear what I have to do, you cannot move forward in life. And that is where ego comes in. Certain times to make a clear decision, this is what the path I have to take, this conviction is enforced by ego. But slowly as your conviction gets right, as slowly as your intelligence gets stronger, then the ego is not required. Why? Because when you are living your life with wisdom, then the true potential from within you must sprout out. Because your potential lies within you. Just like the potential of the mango tree lies within the seed of the mango. It doesn't lie elsewhere. In the same way, what happens is that our true potential is then enhanced by the wisdom that we collect of the world, the intelligence that we collect of the world. But if you do not let go of the ego at the right time, then what will happen? Then ego is a negative force in our life. But it is very difficult to let go. Why? Because we are all beings of habit. We are habitual beings. Meaning that whatever we keep on doing again and again becomes easier to do again and again. And sometimes when we live our life with ego, detaching it at the right time becomes very difficult. Why? Because we have a habit of always thinking, I know what is right because this is the way I'm living. And sometimes in spirituality, this I know everything cannot exist. Because there is no person in this world who can say, I know everything. This universe is infinite and we are finite beings in this body. This body and this mind is not capable of knowing everything. Because if it was capable of knowing everything, a lot of human beings who've come before who are very egoistic would have known everything already. But man is still searching for its origin. We as individual beings, despite having Google at our fingertips, despite having the encyclopedic knowledge of the world at our fingertips, we still do not know everything. There is still so much mystery of this universe that is still hidden from us. There is mystery of consciousness that is hidden for us. And these things cannot be written in words, cannot be explained. These things have to be experienced in life. So what happens is, as beings of intelligence, once you have the capability of deciding what is right and what is wrong for yourself, ego has to be cut down out of the life. Just like the seed will only grow once it detaches from the outer hard shell. The outer hard shell is the ego. So the ego has to be detached. If the ego is not detached, if that I self is not detached, then what is your potential of finding yourself cannot be achieved. So one must constantly make effort in life through different circumstances and situations to slowly, detach from egoistic thoughts. Thoughts that bind us, thoughts that create negativity in us, thought that does not let us fulfill our potential. And we all know what that thoughts are. Anger in me is not good. Hate towards another person is not good. Now the thing is, if I am not dedicated in this quest of finding myself, then what will happen? 2 days I meditate, the third day I take rest. There is no taking rest in spirituality. We have to keep on moving forward. We have to keep on questioning ourselves. And when we question ourselves, then we find the answers to ourselves also. So it is a constant effort which happens day in and day out. From the moment we start breathing till the moment we'll stop breathing, the quest of finding yourself must not end. And when you have this dedication, this force pushing you forward, then finding the answers to your questions becomes very easy. Because the focus of the mind is one-pointedness. This is what on Thursday when we had gone to Casadega also, few premies were here with us. This is what even Dawn was trying to explain. The power of the breath. Because once the mind is focused into the breath, then all the mysteries of the universe is slowly unfolded in front of us. Now most of the time we live in a world where we the problem of today's world is what? It's not that I have suffering in my life. The problem of today's world or suffering of today's man is that my neighbor has more happiness than I have. We've changed our perspective of living. When I'm always looking at what some other person has or doesn't have, I will always be unsatisfied. Now I have to remove this focus of the mind and focus on what I have and what I can experience in my life. That is the objective of living. God as the creator has given us equal opportunity in the eyes of spirituality. We are all conscious being and we are breathing. That's all we need to find ourselves. We don't need a fast car to find ourselves. We don't need a big house to find ourselves. These are all physical needs. The physical needs are limitless. There is no end to it. Many people find happiness in marriage. Many people find happiness in bachelorhood. How do you know where does happiness lie? It's the greatest mystery. So at the end of the day, you have to be focused in your spiritual nature to find your spiritual self. You cannot be focused in the worldly natures of things because duality is the greatest trap of the human mind. When you start living in duality, there is nothing that duality, nothing in this world that can satisfy you in this world of duality. So the immediate way of understanding these truths is change the perspective with how you live. That is the mental thought or the power of the mind that must be utilized. And changing your perspective is how? Do it in a positive way. There was a person, like one day a wife got up, found in the middle of the night the bed was empty, husband is missing. So she goes out, she switches on the room lights, husband is not there. She goes down, she sees the husband is sitting with a cup of coffee, with a very sad thought in his face. He's staring at the wall, he's just lost in his thought. The room is dark. So the wife switches on the light, comes very closely, sits next to her husband, and she very politely asks, what is it that you are thinking of? I see you here in the middle of the night, staring at the wall, your coffee cup has gone cold, there's something bothering you, can you share that with me? So the husband says, oh, do you remember 14 years ago, you were 18 years old and that's when we met. So the wife, is like very taken aback. She's like, yes, I remember everything. 14 years ago, we met for the first time. And he's like, then we kept on meeting each other. And one day I got caught, by your father, my father-in-law, who was a judge. So she said, yes, I remember, like few months, us dating. One day, my father caught us. He's like, that day, your father threatened me that if you don't marry my daughter, I will lock you up for 14 years of your life. Because in India, one of the maximum sentence you get is 14 saal ki jail, 14 years of life. So she said, yes, I remember, and you married me. So he was like, I was just thinking that if I hadn't married you, then my 14 years of jail time will be getting over tonight, and I would be free. So the thing is, if you have perspective of the negative sort, then at the end of the day, you are not getting anywhere. What is in life is the greatest gift of God is this present moment. What you can have, what you will not have is just waste of your mental energies. Because at the end of the day, God has given us this gift here and now to realize ourselves. But how do we spend the here and now? We think about, oh my God, I could have done this, but I didn't do it. You are living your life with regret. Regret will not take you anywhere. Forget about all the mistakes you made in your life. Forget about all the chances that have gone by. This moment is the greatest chance for you to gain it all back again. But if you keep on thinking about the missed chances, then this present is again a missed chance. This is the trap of the mind. If you think about the future, I will travel to India and I will gain wisdom there. First of all, you didn't lose yourself in India. If I was born in America and I lost myself in America, then in America or in these circumstances, I have to find myself. It's as simple as that. You lose your house keys within your car. Where will you find them? Not inside your house. It's logical. If your keys were lost, you were driving and your keys fell out of your pocket in your car and they went under the seat, you can search your house. You can go to your friend's house where you are having dinner. You can search his house. You can search each and every inch of the earth or the highway that takes you from your friend's house to your house, will you find the keys there? No. The keys were left in your car. If you do not search your car, you will never be able to find your keys. In the same way, what have we lost? What are we finding? That is the question we have to ask. We are finding ourselves. We will find ourselves within ourselves. We won't find it externally in the world. Anything external in the world does not define who you are. They are objective of tools or objects or tools of possessions, but they do not define who you are. We look at a rich man traveling in a very luxurious car and we think, oh, he has this car, he must be very happy. That is our perception of life. Have we ever asked that rich man sitting in the car that, are you very happy with this car? And today with how the petrol crisis is in the world, I think so anyone driving a petrol car cannot be happy for a very long time. Because at some point, the prices are going to skyrocket and you will think it was better if I had a cycle or an electric car. This is a big burden on myself. So in the same way, any possession that you have in this world is bound by duality. It is bound to make you suffer in some way or the other. The freedom from suffering is the objective of life. Why should life be suffering? God created this world in an image. The image is of love and harmony. If I cannot live within myself in that same image, then automatically there is friction. Each moment of life is a difficult moment of life. Every morning it's a pain getting up. Why? Because I'm thinking of all the negative thoughts that I'm not supposed to. And that is what is causing my internal self to suffer. But if you forget all that, if you forgive yourself and you move forward, then all changes are possible here and now. But we have to resonate in that universal resonance. Then only change manifests. Then only certain experience manifests. And it happens to everyone. There's a very beautiful story how this a person was waiting outside a shop for his wife to come out. The wife was shopping or getting something, and he was sitting outside his car just waiting, looking around, and he sees a homeless person across the street. So he's trying to ignore the person for some time. Then slowly, the voice of consciousness comes in, and he's like, you must help this person, don't ignore this. And this person crosses the street, and he asks the homeless person, do you need any help? Do you need any help? And the homeless person just smiles at him, and he says two words which changes this person's life. The person says, who doesn't? And at the end of the day, this person was like, hey, when I heard these words, who doesn't? It doesn't matter whether you're educated or uneducated, whether you're rich, whether you're poor, whether you're an old person or a young person. You are only sitting here at this moment because someone in your life has helped you to become a better person. That is why you're here. All of us has faced dark moments in our life. All of us has faced disturbing moments in our life. All of us has faced moments where we do not know what to do. And with the grace of God or with the grace of this cosmic universe, someone comes along in this universe. It could be a little child with a smile who lights up your day, who gives you hope, no, things will be better. It could be an unknown person sitting you across the train, can talk to you, answer all your problems, remove all your doubts. It could be, that guidance coming you in any which way. But every time we are lost and we are hopeless, someone is there to guide us. This is the magic of the universe, because we are part of this universe and the universe cares for us. This is what Jalaluddin Rumi said, that what you are seeking is also seeking you. I mean, these are such profound words. But what am I seeking in life? If I'm only seeking the complications of the world, the duality of the world will easily find me. But if with intelligence for a moment I pause and I say, I'm not of this world, I'm of the spirit. You go seeking the mysteries of your spirit, then eventually the answers of your spirit will find you. And that is what we have to do. We have to send that signal out into this world. Our sages in the past explained to us the law of karma in a very simple way. They said, what you shall sow, so shall you reap. Why? Because at one point we were a very agricultural society. All the complications of this modern society did not exist. 1,000 years ago, people were more concerned with, what crop they are sowing, when the rains will come, when that crop can grow, when we can harvest it, when we can trade that crop for goods. And, all societies in this world were agricultural societies. And that time, it was very simple for a person to explain that what you shall sow, you shall reap. That is the law of karma. Now, today, Newton came along and the world became scientific. So Newton proposed the law of action and reaction. What did Newton say? That every action has an equal and opposite reaction. That is also the law of karma. So the law of karma, despite what definition you give it, or what time is it, the law of karma will exist. And the law of karma is the vibration you put out in the world, you will receive the same vibration at the back. That is the opposite force. If I punch someone, someone is bound to punch me. That is simple. But if I, remove someone's sadness in his life, if I become a solution to his problem, then the world will become a solution to my problems. That is the law of karma. What action you have is the opposite and equal reaction that you will receive. So automatically, Newton had a scientific way of looking at what the world's principle was. But before Newton, when science didn't exist, people were fundamentally answering the mysteries of the universe in their simple ways. So spirituality simplifies this complication of life. But the mind is so complicated that sometimes we look for complicated solutions. In India, if I don't speak a few words in Sanskrit or give some complicated, answer of some text, then people will think, I'm not giving satsang, But, it's easier over here because in some way, the mind, though America is a very complicated way of living your life, but people live their life with simplicity over here. That is why simple words can be taught in satsang, simple stories can be said. I can make certain jokes. If I did at home, then I would be very in great trouble at my own house. Forget India, So it's easier to do it over here because people are in complicated life have very simple thoughts. They don't have judgments, and love is the absence of judgment. When you stop judging yourself, when you stop judging this world, then automatically the truth of what this world is will flourish. Because world resonates with love. God created this world with the simple act of love to share this experience with us. And in order for us to grow in consciousness, we must also learn to share our experience with this universe. That's when automatically change will manifest. So thank you all for coming here. I'm sorry I've run out of jokes. There have been a lot of jokes that I had to say again and again. I don't want to repeat the jokes, but at the end of the day, most of the jokes are there. We went to Casadega, I told all my jokes there. So if you want to know those jokes, you can ask, Don in his next class what the jokes was. It'll be a little test of him also if he was taking down the notes or not. But at the end of the day, a lot of people here from Casadega. I'm sure next year when I come, they won't be remembering my message, but they'll be for sure remembering the jokes. So thank you all, blessings, and may we all find our true path, and may Guru Maharaj's grace forever shine on us. Thank you all, blessings, Hari Om Tasat.